Although not an immediate priority, eating is essential to your survival, providing energy and even protecting against the cold. Research suggests that the human body can continue to function for around 8 to 21 days without taking food and water on board. If hydration is kept up, the body can last for up to 2 months. If you're going to survive, it's essential to establish one or more of the following food sources. One thing you can find to eat is plants. Be careful when identifying plants, as some have not so edible lookalikes that can do more harm than good. The first and perhaps most easily identifiable plant you can eat is the thistle. That said, don't try to eat their prickly leaves. The part you want to harvest is the roots that are rich in carbohydrates and sugars, which will give you energy. These can be eaten raw after a thorough clean. Another familiar flower that you can eat is the dandelion. The leaves are rich in iron, and the flowers can be eaten too. Be careful with the roots, though, as they are usually too bitter to eat. Another edible flower is the daisy. Both traditional and Aoi daisies are a good source of food. You can find them in meadows, and their leaves and flowers are edible. The oxeye daisy central yellow disc has a pineapple flavor, but the smell of the plant is unpleasant. Burdock, also known as elephant's ears, has leaves that can grow up to 3 feet in length. The leaves are wrinkled on top, with fuzzy hairs on the underside. Both the leaves and the stalks can be eaten completely raw. But the best part of this plant is the roots. Although a bit of a pain to dig up, they are long and thick and can be peeled and eaten raw. And last but not least, let's not forget about walnuts. The ones with green husks will not have mature nuts inside, but those that look rotten and brown do. When smashed open with a rock, you will find a delicious walnut inside. Another great protein source, and a familiar taste, is welcome after so many other strange and unusual flavors. Another food source, although less appetizing, is insects. They contain a high amount of protein, essential for survival in extreme conditions. It's important to know which ones are edible and not going to do you any good. As a general rule, avoid anything very colorful, hairy, or smelly. Ants are the most commonly found insect that you can eat. They walk in straight lines, which lead you directly to their anthill. Hit this a few times and get a stick close to collect them. Once you have a good number on the stick, dunk it straight into the vessel of water you're going to cook them in, so they drown. Once there's a good number in the pot, you're ready to cook dinner. Boil for about 6 minutes, and bon appetit. Another excellent choice for a nutritious buggy meal is grasshoppers or crickets. Catch them in the mornings while they are still drowsy. You can catch them with your hands or using a nifty bottle contraption. Cut the top off a bottle and bury it in the ground with some sweet fruit inside. Pop a few leaves in there for them to hide under too so that they don't run away. When you wake up the next morning, you'll find a few of them in there. To cook them, you'll have to pull off their heads. Pull firmly to bring their entrails attached. After removing their wings and legs, you can dry roast or skewer them to cook them over a fire. If bugs aren't your thing, another great source of protein is fish. There are 2 principal techniques we can use to fish: fishing with hooks or using traps. Being aware of the weather is essential for fishing. If there is a storm coming, try to fish before it breaks, as fishing is usually poor after big storms. Light rain typically creates reliable fishing conditions, though, because fish are less likely to see you. The same can be said for cloudy weather. Aside from the rain, fish are also sensitive to temperature. They don't like warm water, so they'll be hard to find on a hot day, and more so in shallow waters. It means your best bet will be to fish in the early morning or late evening. Positioning yourself into the wind is intelligent, as fish to remember that most fish like to have places to hide as they feel better protected. So if you're looking at a lake or other large body, keep your eyes peeled for grass, weeds, or even lily pads. You're more likely to find fish in these areas. The downside is that any hooks you use are likely to get caught in the plants, becoming tangled. Consider less traditional fishing methods in this case. And be to swim that way.